Hey everyone, this is Rachel Alexander with Keller Realty, serving the Tallahassee, Crawfordville, and Gadsden County areas. And what I wanted to address today is a question that I hear from time to time, okay? Now, let's say that you're driving in a neighborhood and you see a property that you've been interested in or that you are interested in. You call the agent on the sign, you get them to show you the property, and you want to put an offer in on the property, okay? Now, the question that I sometimes get is, hey, am I limited to using that agent for that property? And what the National Association of Realtors found, I believe, is it's less than 2% of all sales are dual agency. And dual agency, what I mean by that is the same agent is representing the seller as is representing the buyer. So that's less than 2%. So the vast majority of our deals, agent to agent, or home sales rather, are done with a cooperating agent. So I may list a property, Mike Smith may bring a buyer, okay? Now, it is not immediately unethical to use the person who's on the sign, okay? However, it is close to an analogy that I've heard before, which is if you're divorcing, why would you use your soon-to-be ex-spouse's divorce attorney? Okay. Now, of course, there are some marriages that the divorces are amicable and they're able to come to agreement on everything. Just use someone to type up the paperwork, to do the paperwork and make sure that things are done right. I get that. I understand that. However, there is more awareness that you do have to have as an agent when you are representing both sides. I've done it before. I can say for me, I'm someone who values ethics and values, operating at a high level of integrity. And it was just uncomfortable for me the entire process. It just was, because I had to be so aware of what I was saying to the buyer, and conversely what I was saying to the seller, so I didn't blur lines and then operate unethically. And thankfully, it didn't end up having an issue with it, but it was a very uncomfortable situation, and it can be a very uncomfortable situation that leads to ethics potentially being something that's not upheld, okay? So do I necessarily recommend it? No. Can you do it? Yes, okay? Now, sometimes we'll get kind of a spin-off of this question is, okay, well, I saw that this property was listed by, XYZ firm. Do I have to go through one of their agents? Am I limited to using one of their agents? Again, the answer is no with that. For the most part, if you see a sign in the yard and I'm your realtor, you can call me for that sign in the yard, whether or not it's got my name on it. We'll schedule a showing for you. We'll get you in there, and then we'll get an offer, hopefully negotiated and successfully closed for you. Long story short, can you do it? Yes. Do I recommend that you do it? No. Honestly, at this point, if someone came to me with a, interested in a listing that I had, I would probably just refer it out to somebody else, because I know that it can be very easy without intentionally wanting to blur ethical lines for those lines to be blurred. Okay, so hope that gives some clarity into the first portion of our segment, which is Real Talk About Real Estate. And the next portion that I'm going to go into is Real Talk About Life. And what we're going to discuss today is an age-old battle, okay? And, it's going to be very controversial. The whole thing's, I guess, kind of been controversial today, but I have to know. Sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? Which one? Which one makes it to the center of your table at Thanksgiving? And, if you're lucky, you'll get somebody to make either one of those for you at Christmas time. But is it sweet potato or is it pumpkin? Now, I'll be honest, I tend to move toward the sweet potato pie. Pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice, it doesn't really do that much for me. Sweet potato just goes down a little bit easier. But I love to hear what works for you. Now you'll notice that a lot of my questions recently with the Real Talk About Life have been focused around the holidays. It's typically a great time with family and friends, and I hope that you're able to spend that time with your family and friends, and being mindful of COVID and everything going on with that. But it's heavy on our minds because I think that it allows us some break from the train wreck that 2020 has been. So here's to a great new year. Here's to moving forward into 2021. But before we do that, I have to know, sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? So if you see a house that you like and the sign on the house has a different agent or a different firm, remember that I can represent you. My number here is 850-206-2199. Again, this has been another episode of Real Talk with Rachel, serving the Tallahassee, Crawfordville, and Gadsden County areas. Y'all have a great one. Bye.